What's going on, everybody? This is Craig James from MasculinityByDesign.com. This is the Masculine by Design Mancast, and today's episode of the Mancast is devoted to a problem that plagues a lot of people, and it plagues men, and it's definitely something that we need to get a handle on because it's really causing a lot of problems politically, in the workplace, and just men being able to lead out of a strong conviction that what they believe is true and what they believe is right, and being able to convince others of that as well so they can follow their lead. And so the issue that I'm talking about here is this epidemic that we have in our hyper information age, where we have a ton of information available to us. And so what's happened is that men and women have become accustomed to simply absorbing information. They become information gatherers instead of critical thinkers, and that's very problematic for a lot of reasons, and I'll talk about those here. But when we become information gatherers instead of critical thinkers, we lose the ability to really understand why we believe what we believe. We simply believe something because we've heard it. Maybe it sounds good to us, but we don't really think it through logically to see if it comports with the rest of our beliefs or our worldview as a whole. So when we become information gatherers instead of critical thinkers, the first way that we can identify that is when we start failing to reason through what we believe. And we see a lot of this in political discussions, which is evidence of the fact that somebody doesn't really feel that strongly about the veracity of what they believe. And that's when we resort to name calling or personal attacks or ad hominem attacks, because we aren't able to argue in the arena of ideas, so we attack somebody personally to try to avoid that. So you see that a lot from the left. You know, the leftists like to use their favorite phobias or calls of bigotry, racism, and those kinds of things. But rarely do I engage in a very thoughtful and logical conversation with somebody on the left. And I think that's why. I think, and there are people on the right like this as well, but it seems to be more predominant on the left, where they gather a bunch of information, a bunch of facts. They see a headline, somebody tells them something, and instead of thinking it through, gathering more information from maybe opposing viewpoints and really understanding what they believe and whether it's true or not, they simply retain it and spout it back. So we become a society of fact memorizers or information memorizers, and so people are very good about using talking points, but they're not very good about critical thinking and reasoning through what they believe, which is why I believe, in part, there's such a gap in logical discourse that really should be taking place on a lot of the critical issues that we're facing today. So we have closed minds, and the social media age that we're in, it's been very good for us in a lot of ways. Information can get to millions of people, billions of people even, at the speed of light, and can be shared by those who want to share it, and that's really good. It's been very valuable for me. I get a lot of my information from social media, but what it tends to do is it closes people's minds because of the way the internet has been structured, and particularly Facebook or Twitter. And what I mean by that is that when somebody sets up a social media account, they tend to like or follow people and pages and businesses and things that reinforce what they already believe to be true. They don't tend to follow others who might disagree with them or have an opposing or dissenting viewpoint. So what ends up happening is very few people, especially on the left, get exposed to opposing viewpoints. They don't ever hear it because their day is filled with surrounding themselves with information and individuals who already believe the same things that they do. And so that makes them feel good because they're around like-minded people, but it never exposes them to opposition, to opposing viewpoints. So they never really have to think through logically what they believe and compare that against what somebody who might disagree would say. So as a conservative, I don't have that issue, and any conservative, for the most part, doesn't have that issue. We are bombarded with the leftist viewpoints. We hear that daily. You turn on any news channel, how many friends we have on Facebook or Twitter that will attack us for our beliefs. I don't mean that, not like I'm looking for pity here, but we get attacked, we get verbally assaulted because of what we believe, again, with charges of being racist or homophobe or Islamophobe or whatever. So we hear the other arguments, and so it helps us to critically think through them. But I think a lot of people on the left and some on the right, they don't really ever take the opportunity, and I call it an opportunity because it is an opportunity to hear what the other side has to say. And when you hear what the other side has to say, and you can still come away from that feeling that your viewpoint is the true one, it just galvanizes that belief even more, that you know that the conclusion that you've come to is the correct one. And so another thing that I find with our information gathering rather than critical thinking is we become addicted to information. So instead of getting some information, assimilating it, and thinking through it, and taking the time to really understand what it's telling us and how we should react to it and what conclusions we should draw from it, we just continue to absorb more and more and more before we've even had a chance to really think through the latest news story or data that's come out regarding political candidates or anything in life. There's a new shiny object that's gracing the news screen for us to absorb, or another 500 tweets or Facebook status updates for us to take in. And so we never really take the time to think through what we believe. We get addicted to just gaining information, but we don't analyze it. We don't critically think through it. And so we're not really able to articulate our positions well. And again, I see that so often in political matters, and that's because I think people tend to not really put the time into thinking about what they believe politically. I think they find a few people that they trust, or a group of people that they trust, and they take whatever information they give them as gospel. So they might see a headline of a news source that they trust, and that headline may say something superlative or otherwise that might be misleading or give them not the full story, but they will read that headline and that becomes gospel to them. They don't read the full story. They don't get an opposing viewpoint. They don't ever think through everything to the extent that it deserves, so they can come to a good conclusion. So they just become addicted to gaining information. And again, because of the way social media is set up and the way we can structure our electronic profiles online to only expose ourselves to things that we like and that we already agree with, it's very easy to just get into gathering information that just simply confirms what we already believe, which is really dangerous if what we believe doesn't align with the truth or reality. And the other aspect of this is that when we become information gatherers instead of critical thinkers, it's easy for us to be controlled by others. And I say this is the Masculine by Design Mancast, so I'm talking to men. And I say this to men because we should have a more logical framework from which we make our decisions and draw our conclusions. Women have a more emotional framework, and that's good for them. That blesses our society and our families in a way that men cannot. But men should be logical. We should be able to reason more fully and rely on that logic and reasoning more so than emotion. But when we become information gatherers, we allow those who are assimilating the information to basically form our worldview for us. They're able to make our decisions for us. They close our minds and they control us because they tell us what we're to believe. And again, I'm picking on politics because that's a really easy place to see this, where people get bombarded with the same information and they don't think it through. So they allow that information to control them. They allow others to tell them what to think. And that is so dangerous. I mean, that is how ideas like communism and socialism really take root. And when that happens, liberties are taken away, freedom is taken away. Government control becomes a very dangerous and tyrannical thing, because the government or those who are in charge of the media can basically make the masses believe whatever they want by saying it enough and by getting it out there in enough mediums. I guess my encouragement from this podcast here that I want to give to men is it's okay to search out opposing viewpoints. It's okay to see what the other side believes, why they believe it. Contrast that with your own beliefs, with your own worldview. If your worldview or your beliefs can't stand the scrutiny of opposing viewpoints, then it really isn't belief or a worldview that you should be holding that tightly to anyway. So you shouldn't be afraid of encountering opposing viewpoints. You should embrace it. You should be open to hearing what they have to say, logically and critically thinking through your view versus maybe the opposing view, and coming to a conclusion that is most congruent with your experience and with all the facts that you have in front of you. And continue to learn and grow and critically think. And it's okay that your mind might change from time to time as you get more information. That's part of being human. None of us are the same at 40 years old as we were at 20, because we gain more experience, gain more information, and we make decisions based on that. And our outlook on life and different circumstances and political views change. I heard somebody once say that somebody who thinks the same at 30 as they did at 20 has just wasted 10 years of their life, and I do believe that. I think that even if your beliefs haven't changed, where you've gone to the opposing side of what you used to believe, you've at least gained some knowledge, experience, and thought through your experiences and knowledge to a point where you're even stronger in the beliefs that you held before, so you're not the same. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and those who are watching on YouTube, this is the first video. I hope to do many more like this, so I hope you enjoy that format. I'll also have this up on iTunes and SoundCloud. Please be sure to go to masculinitybydesign.com, pick up your copy of my free book, Masculine by Design. And when you do that, you'll sign up to receive my newsletters. So I'll send you a link to all my new postings, so you'll never miss out on new content that's posted there. Within those links will also be a code that will allow you to view the site without the annoying pop-ups that I put on there to get people to sign up. So I know that's annoying, but it's good for making sure I get as many followers as I can to get out the message of men realigning their lives with the masculinity they've been created with. So thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Craig James from masculinitybydesign.com. I'm out.